final technical session of the day. The topic for this panel discussion is opportunities and challenges for real estate in the MMR region. To moderate this important discussion, it is my pleasure to invite Mr. Ambarish Vijay Jondhale, Senior Director, Western Region and Major Products, India and South Asia, KONE. We also welcome our distinguished panelist, Mr. Manthan Mehta, Managing Director, JVM Spaces, Mr. Prashant Khandelwal, Director and CEO, Agami Realty, Architect Reza Kabul, President, ARK Reza Kabul Architects, Mr. Pankaj Joshi, Conservation Architect and Principal Director, Urban Center, Mumbai, Engineer Sandip Isore, President, Practicing Engineers, Architects and Town Planners Association.
So good evening to all of you. Building context, MMR, Sapno Ki Nagari, right, as we know, offers immense growth potential. And this growth potential can be unlocked only if you are able to seamlessly, efficiently, and effectively execute plans in place. Today you see cities, beyond growing horizontal, are growing vertical. And while they are growing vertical, the most important challenge that we see is how do you bring seamless movement? How do you create human experiences? With this as a background, let me start this panel discussion today with an open question to all my panel members is while MMR is growing strategically, or is it catching up demand? So what do you think while these projects of infra and redevelopment are we strategic in nature or are we catching up with demand? Maybe Manthan, you want to start?
Well, we are actually going with the flow, if you ask me. There are many things that are happening. Infrastructure is by default the backbone of any city that we have, and the rising demand, the rising supply, both of things that you could say. The rising influx of people in the city, the only thing that would help us is the infrastructure, and the government has been proactive with that. There's a nice web of metro that is surrounded the city really nicely, and there are many plethora of projects that are coming up. So definitely that is there. And that, in a way, is helping the redevelopment as well. So it's like a mix of two. And unfortunately, we are stuck into it. If you want that answer, that would be it from my side, yeah.
Yes, sir, there are plenty of opportunities so far as infrastructure development is concerned. So, जसं मराठीत म्हणतात निष्पक्षपणे जर सांगायचं झालं तर in last 10-15 years or maybe 20 years, the speed of infrastructure development has rise tremendously. So this is certainly going to help the real estate sector because there will be more and more housing demand, maybe in probably in the affordable housing demand. So that demand is already there. By virtue of infrastructure such as roads, then metros, the traveling time journey will be very nice. But after the real estate sector is booming, by virtue of so many houses when constructed, one aspect will have to be kept in mind about the livability. But when we were demanding for the infrastructure growth that is happening now, so we have to bear a transition period, which will be, once the infrastructure boom is there, there will be some kind of trouble to start with. Once it gets settled, then these aspects of livability and all those things will have to be balanced in the coming future.
Thank you.
Can you hear me?
Yep.
See, we have a substantially challenging decade till we reach 2047, because if the Mumbai metropolitan region has to pull the whole economy of India to a 5 trillion economy, we are talking about Maharashtra being 1.5 trillion and Mumbai being somewhere around 1.2 trillion. That's 3 times the GDP now. So essentially we are looking at another, say, 20 years to virtually triple. Real estate is kind of growing according to, what it is expected, and I'm sure real estate will achieve these targets. The real disconnect is whether infrastructure will keep pace with the real estate. And essentially, good city is good business, bad city is then by default bad business. What we are seeing is the substantial out-migration of educated youth from outside the city. The in-migration is of labor, wanting jobs and all. So essentially that disconnect, how do we create an environment where young, educated, high net worth individuals would like to stay in the city, is something which we need to kind of do that. And the disconnect is in various sectors, like 90% of Mumbai uses public transport. So how do we achieve 10,000 buses in Mumbai and maybe another 15,000 buses in the Mumbai metropolitan region? How do we bridge this disconnect of water supply, sanitation? Can a metropolitan city, a global city, be without footpaths? Those are the questions which we need to introspect. And I think there's a lot of work. We've been talking to Mr. Shevare. You have a corporator who has the best footpaths in the city, and he's been like for last 20 years struggling to kind of get that, but he's got it. So we are very optimistic that this can be done, because we have examples where we've done in Trombay, we've done in the other Matunga areas. What we need is the scaling up. Do we see that in the region? And I think that is the challenge which is there in next. Infrastructure will happen, metros will happen, tall buildings will happen. What happens to the intermediate, open spaces, footpaths and road?
I think your question a few years back would be we were catching up. But I think with the current leadership today, we are not talking about Mumbai 3.0. We are talking about Mumbai 4.0. CM sir is traveling himself to Palghar, talking about a airport in the sea, reclaimed airport. We are talking about a Vadhavan port with 76,000 crore kind of infrastructure. We are coming up with a bullet train, which will be kind of operational, I think, in Gujarat in 1 year, and in Maharashtra, Mumbai to Gandhinagar will happen in next 2-3 years. With this kind of infrastructure, we are in next 5 to 10 years, I would say these are all strategic move, and it takes time for infrastructure. I think around 5-7 years ago, we, all of our real estate developers, used to think, are we in a wrong place? Entire Mumbai was dug up. We have metro going on everywhere. Metro work was going on everywhere. We were not able to travel. But today, since all the metro work was going on together, once everything is connected, it will be one network. The kind of movement it will create, like Pankaj said, कि public transport is most important. अगर सारा network एक साथ इकट्ठा हो जाएगा, then you are at a different space. So पहले real estate की cost होती थी कि आप साउथ में ज़्यादा महंगा होता था, नॉर्थ में कम होता था, वेस्टर्न सबब में आप देखोगे बोरीवली के आज भाव बांद्रा से ज़्यादा हैं. If you see so, and over a period of time, close to metro station, the rate will be higher, and so our leadership today is thinking strategically. Currently, we always see that we are catching up because हमको ground level की reality दिखती है, हमको उनका vision नहीं दिखता. But I would say we are definitely going to be, Mumbai, Maharashtra is going to be so MMR overall region, Mumbai 3.0 is already developing fast. Mumbai 4.0 plans they have already started. So I'm super bullish about MMR.
If you ask me, I think we are late. We are just reaching, or we are just trying to achieve the current population. Whatever infrastructure we are doing, this should have been done many years ago. So we are already late. By the time we finish this whole network, we are going to run short. So what's the plan for the expansion? We don't have any plan for that. The problem with us, we are not thinking about the future. We are not thinking about, 50 years ahead. We are just trying to, right now, currently, we are trying to solve today's problems, which still we have not been able to. So I think we should, there are 2-3 suggestions I have. One is that we should have one single body approving the plans. We've got BPT, we've got MMRD, we've got municipal, we've got SRA. All these are different things, and all of them are working in a different, they've got no sync with each other. When we are doing, suppose like we're doing Dharavi or we're doing BPT, it should be planned like a virgin thing and think about the future, not just do buildings and do this thing. It should be like a master plan. Even if you are talking about development in downtown, in the island city, we are doing individual buildings, they're giving approval on 700, 800, 1,000 square meter plots, which is not correct. There should be cluster. Cluster is the way to do it. Because if you do cluster, you're going to get more open space, you're going to get more larger plots, you're going to get more wider roads, you're going to get all that. So, if we have the coastal road, today you come from city, you come to Bandra on the coastal road. Once you land in Bandra, you take 1 hour just to reach from the coastal road and exit to any point in Bandra. Especially in the evening time, it's a big challenge. So we are not thinking about the internal, the detailed, smaller, micro level thinking. We are just doing now macro level. We have to think in toto, and we have to think the entire city's fabric at one time. So my suggestion is that we are already late. We should think more in advance for the next 50 years.
Quite interesting. We see mixed views here. Strategic, catching up with demand. Yeah. So, okay, moving on further on the real estate story. Manthan, this is to you. Where do you see the biggest opportunity in MMR today? And what is the biggest constraint preventing you for fully leveraging on it?
The biggest opportunity is Mumbai as a location. I mean, you cannot beat this location. Everyone has a dream to come to Mumbai, and Mumbai MMR is sort of synonym, I mean, if you ask me. Again, the opportunity I throw back to the infrastructure only. Infrastructure is connected in such a way that the entire Mumbai and MMR are connected in a beautiful way. So that is the biggest opportunity if you ask me. अगर आप पूरे देश में समझो, सबका सपना रहता है कि मुंबई में एक घर लेना है. कहीं पे भी आप जाओ, शायद आप दिल्ली में ना लोगे, पर मुंबई में घर लेने का सपना सबका रहता है. So that is the biggest opportunity. Mumbai and MMR itself is a brand. The only thing that is stopping us is maybe, as sir also rightly said, the infra work is going on, and that is where there is a sort of a disturbance for now, but this is temporary. Once the things are done, you may feel that you have missed the bus. So that may be a thing, but the location itself is the biggest USP, if you ask me.
Yeah, thanks. Yeah, I agree. So this is to Mr. Reza Kabul now. How do you balance the opportunity of vertical growth? This is interesting to me because I come from elevators, with the challenge of maintaining design quality and human experiences. So I'm too keen to know on the human experience part of it. So what do you plan while you're growing vertical? Mumbai is going vertical. How do you take care of the vertical experiences, human experiences?
So I think we should adapt a few things from overseas. Like I have an office in San Francisco and we're doing work over there. So what is done over there, what the bylaws says that the ground floor is for the public. And you have to give a certain, if you're making a tower also, so you have to give a certain area of the ground area to the public for public amenities, and it will be open for them to use it. They have a time limit, but that gives the people some place, because today we are going all vertical, especially when I'm talking about city. We've got going vertical on a 70 meter. We are going. I have done a building, a 250 square meters, a 70 meter building. Okay, I mean, we did it because the client wanted it. But if you ask me, actually, it's not the right thing to do. It should be in a larger scale where you have some open space, where you have some this thing. So you get the experience. Today, we used to play cricket. We had play cricket grounds. Where are those grounds today? Where are those, place for somebody to go for recreation, just take a walk or something? Just going vertical. Yeah, we are trying. We are giving intermediate floors. We give amenities on the floors. We give all those, eye wash. We give it just like an eye wash. It's a selling point. Everything is there. But we should have some kind of a, infrastructure, some kind of a thought, some kind of a, where the children can play, where they can just go and sit down, we can have some fresh air. We don't have anything today. Mumbai is just becoming vertical without choice. We have no choice. We can't go further outside. We've gone into the coastal road. We can't go any further. But it's a big challenge. We try to give the best. We give them terraces. We give them terraces intermediate, trying to give them, some recreation spaces. But only what I would say is redevelopment should be with cluster development, not with individual buildings. That's my submission to the...
Yeah. In fact, that brings me to the next question. I was traveling today from SV Road, Borivali to Bandra, and you see everything, all walls to the road. And as you said, earlier cricket ground, space to walk, talk, all that is gone. So my next question is to Sandip. We all know redevelopment is the buzz today in Mumbai. A lot of projects are going through, a lot of projects are getting stalled. So what is your thought on this, and what actions are needed from various stakeholders for a seamless process of redevelopment?
So redevelopment process itself is a complex one, as complex as the development control regulations for Mumbai. So we as a PEATA had tried a lot to make that development control regulations simpler, but Mumbai itself is a old and new city, old city, and it has got its own problem. But so far as redevelopment is concerned, there are various options available. But as I fully agree with sir that cluster redevelopment is the best option, and probably the rule makers or the administrators have really identified that, and that's why the regulations have been drafted accordingly, that there is a more and more incentive for coming together. So people need to think about the benefits of their personal benefit, as well as benefits to their surrounding, and as well as the benefits for the city, for coming together for redevelopment as a cluster redevelopment. Only thing I, as a PEATA member, I feel that the provision of cluster by any who wish to come together and make a cluster is there, as well as there is a provision in the DCPR to make clusters marked on the DP plan as a master plan, so that those are already identified clusters. Maybe a bigger clusters will have to be started by the government authorities, because people will have faith in the government authorities that this will be done as is being done now through C&D agency. So the bigger the cluster, the more advantage for the city, the more advantage for the individual. He will get a bigger size home, reconstructed home, rehab home. And as sir has rightly pointed out, there will be more and more amenities maybe carved out. So rather than thinking of going a few kilometers away for getting an entry to some garden, probably the gardens will be in their own doorsteps. So that kind of approach needs, so taking this opportunity, I will request the students are also there, let people think of coming together, because for last 15 years I am associated with Bendi Bazar cluster development. So I am experiencing through that, people says, नहीं हम इनके साथ नहीं जाएंगे, हमारा तो उनसे जमेगा ही नहीं. I think socially we have to accept that coming together will be benefited to each and everybody. Thank you.
Thank you. And this is to Pankaj now. What is the biggest policy-led opportunity, and what structural challenges still need resolution?
I think architect Reza Kabul brought forward that the fundamental problem that ails Mumbai is multiplicity of authority. We have one elected body, but we have more than 8 authorities giving building permissions, where they have no role to do that. No city does this kind of thing. So you see it playing out in monsoons. When there's a disaster, it is BMC which has to clean out. But railways will never take responsibility of their area, BPT will never take responsibility of their area, MMRDA will blame BMC. So that blame game is becoming a fundamental structural flaw. And now that you have the mayor, deputy mayor and all sitting here, I fundamentally feel that municipal corporation is the only authority, even under the act, even under the constitution. Rest of the authority are unconstitutional and they they should be merged with municipal corporation, if at all. You cannot have multiplicity of authorities giving permissions when they don't do anything about infrastructure, neither provide water supply, nor do sanitation, nor do anything else. The whole engineering, health, education is done by municipal corporation, and they have the only right to plan and do. It might have its own problems, but at least you know who's responsible. So that is the first fundamental thing. In terms of infrastructure, I think it's high time that you don't use things like water for flushing and washing cars. The dual systems through the State Environment Committee, everything about 20,000 square meters is having dual plumbing. We are the only arrogant city in India which use drinking water, level water for flushing and washing cars and all other things. So I think let's be pragmatic. You are not going to get this kind of unending source of supply of water. Use whatever water, 90% goes in sewage, treat it and use it for whatever purposes, and you don't have a shortage. I think it's a myth. Look at Varda and other cities in Vidarbha. They're getting 15 days mein 1 hour water supply for drinking. So I think that arrogance we have to shed. Mumbaikar is too arrogant in terms of water supply, public transport, because we've not looked at other cities at all. So that is the fundamental kind of structural thing. And the third thing which we definitely think in terms of looking at challenges in public open spaces and all, let us implement our development plan. Your development plan of 1967 was implemented 15%. Your development plan of 1981 was implemented 18%. Your development plan of 2032, why is there no disclosure of how much plan is implemented? So your city has grown from 1950s without even 100% implementation of a plan. New York, London, Shanghai, look at Bangkok, all have gone beyond 80% implementation. And now they have competitions, design, interpretations towards what to do with open spaces. We have not done the unitary development plan implementation at all. So essentially the fundamental flaw is we are not looking at, like, nobody is accountable for development plan implementation. You have a municipal commissioner who's in charge of the development plan department. But have you ever asked a question कि कितना plan implement हुआ है? After independence, चलो 1950s से how many plans and how much is implemented? In a private company, if you implement 15% of your target, will you get your salary? No. The thing is that let there be accountability. Let us implement plans. We have one of the best development plans in the city. It's not optimally the best, but as compared to other cities, because we are like Andhe mein Kana Raja kind of thing. So we have a very good development plan. But even that we implement up to 10%, 15%. That means generations have been deprived of the benefits of plan implementation. I think the three fundamental things: single authority. Second is use your resources well. We have more than adequate resources for the city. And third is, if you do a plan, please implement it. Like, let it not be in a shelf and, every 20 years we run this charade of making new plans and not implement it.
So let me continue with you. Just hold on. So quite inquisitiveness, building inquisitiveness. Will this change? While you're saying, we are still, in the transition phase, things are so premature now. Will this change?
No, I think we don't have an option. The thing is, I said, my starting thing was young people are moving out. If you have 3 lakh flats empty in the Mumbai metropolitan region, if it reaches 1 million, I think the builders will force you to make those changes, because bad city is bad business. You cannot afford to do that. What architect Reza Kabul talked about, opening up the ground floor things. Hong Kong, public transport goes through buildings. It's no longer, the lower 2 floors are not yours, they are city's floors. You do whatever, you go like you want 100 story, you want 10 FSA, take 20. If that is what you want. But essentially, you don't tamper with the public domain, because the public can bend so much. After that, they're going to shout. Yeah. So I don't think we have an option that, what we say that the builders will decide. Builders cannot decide if they cannot sell. Yeah. If you come to a point where you have an inventory of 10 lakh houses in Mumbai metropolitan region, you see what happens. Yeah. So I think let us not wait for that situation. We need to kind of work.
Sure, yes. This is to Prashant. Execution is key. Like we heard now, execution is going to be most critical. So what is the biggest efficiency gap today and how does it impact project outcomes?
So efficiency-wise, I think one is the policy side that we takes a lot of time for approval. We have multiple clearances from multiple departments. That is one of the key thing. And then construction is completely an easier part. But I think getting the approvals done. So there are a couple of points Mr. Isore, Sandip sir also raised, and sir, Pankaj sir and Reza sir has raised. So for the social thing, so getting societies together to do cluster is a task in itself. As a developer, let's say if we approach society, we get one society, then we approach multiple society around that. Everybody wants a different offer, a better offer. So अगर आपने एक सोसाइटी को X एरिया परसेंटेज दिया है, अगले को चाहिए X plus Y, उसको फिर Y plus Z, nobody is satisfied with the same offer. Second, the kind of, since they are staying together from so many years, from 30, 40, 60 years, they would always say कि भाई हम तो आँख से आँख नहीं देख सकते. तो आप इन सब लोगों को एक साथ लेकर आना एज अ डेवलपर. तो बेसिकली अब हम पहले क्या होता था एज अ रियल एस्टेट डेवलपर आप मतलब कॉलर टाइट करके चलते थे. अभी हाथ जोड़ के मेंबर से बात करके मतलब वी आर मोर ऑफ अ रीडेवलपमेंट इज द डिफरेंट गेम ऑल टुगेदर. ये सर्विस इंडस्ट्री हो गया है जहां हम सोसाइटी मेंबर्स के आभारी हैं कि उन्होंने हमको काम दिया है. ऐसी स्थिति हो गई है आज की तारीख में रीडेवलपमेंट की. आज सोसाइटी मेंबर्स राजा है और उनको सर
वो बोलते हैं कि हम तो बॉस है, आप हमारे वास्ते पका.
हाँ, आप हम
We are the owners.
If
You
I
cannot
may
call
add.
them tenants also. They say we are the owners.
If I may add, हम प्रॉफिट कितना कमाएंगे वो भी वो
वो
डिसाइड
डिसाइड करते हैं कि आप इससे ज़्यादा प्रॉफिट नहीं कमा सकते, हमारे फ्लैट इस लेवल पे आएंगे. तो मतलब बेसिकली द फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम यही है कि सोशली वी एज इंडियंस मतलब हम उसी सोसाइटी से आते हैं. हमारा थॉट प्रोसेस रहता है कि भाई मेरे घर के अंदर मैं 10 करोड़ का इंटीरियर कराऊंगा, घर के बाहर तो कचरा वहीं फेंकूंगा, मैं रोड पे मैं वही थूकूंगा. मैं मतलब तो वो थॉट प्रोसेस हमारा अलग है. हम लोग कैसे अपना कल्चरली चेंज करें अपने आप को, वो सबसे बड़ा सोशल जो चेंजेस हैं वो बहुत डिफिकल्ट है आना. सो दैट इज़ अ फंडामेंटल प्रॉब्लम टुडे फॉर नॉट गेटिंग द क्लस्टर अनटिल लाइक द वे अभी SRA और महाड़ा का हुआ. लैंड ओनर महाड़ा है तो महाड़ा ने सीधे कर दिया एंड इट विल क्रिएट अ डिफरेंट इम्पैक्ट. मतलब आप इतने बड़े लैंड पार्सल को डेवलप करोगे, द काइंड ऑफ मास्टर प्लान, द काइंड ऑफ बिल्डिंग्स, मतलब यू विल सी द सिंगापुर, दुबई और शंघाई काइंड ऑफ बिल्डिंग्स इन मुंबई विद द बिगर लेआउट्स. बट ऑन अ इंडिविजुअल लैंड पार्सल वहाँ सोसाइटी ओनर है या 33/7 में सेल्स बिल्डिंग है, गेटिंग पीपल टुगेदर इज अ नाइटमेयर टुडे, इज़ नॉट अ ईजी टास्क. हमको पता है कि कैसे सोसाइटी डेवलपमेंट करते हैं, बस सर के मतलब हम वी हैव टू टेक आर्किटेक्ट. तो आप समझो 5 बिल्डर 10 बिल्डर प्रेजेंटेशन दे रहे हैं एंड एवरीबडी हैज अ डिफरेंट आर्किटेक्ट हु इज प्रेजेंटिंग अलॉन्ग विद देम एंड द काइंड ऑफ क्वेश्चन दे आर कि घर खरीदने वाला इतना क्वेश्चन नहीं पूछता जितना सोसाइटी देने वाला पूछता है आज की तारीख में. दैट इज अ फैक्ट. तो वो बहुत बड़ा चैलेंज है आज की तारीख में. सेकेंड चैलेंज हमारे पास आता है प्रोजेक्ट आने के बाद जो क्लियरेंसेज में टाइम लगता है, जो टाइम कॉस्ट ऑफ मनी है ना वो बहुत ज़्यादा है. वो एज अ लीडरशिप एज अ अथॉरिटीज़ उस टाइम को कैसे कम से कम किया जाए, उसको कितने फास्ट प्रोग्रेसिव किया जाए, दैट विल क्रिएट अ लॉट ऑफ डिफरेंस. क्योंकि वो इम्प्रूवमेंट इफ़ वी रिड्यूस दैट टाइम द डेवलपमेंट टाइम विल इंक्रीज अ लॉट. हमको सर्टेनिटी आनी चाहिए कि हमारा ये जो प्लान है ये आज जो रेगुलेशन है उससे पास हो जाएगा तो हमको OC भी मिल जाएगी. मतलब संदीप सर इज हेयर सो ही वुड से कि भाई आज ये पास हो जाएगा लेकिन इससे आगे कितना होगा until unless you get a full CC there is no guarantee about it. सो वो सारी चीज़ों में मतलब छोटी सी बात है, ट्री NOC है. वी आर सो आई गिव अ डिस्क्लेमर. 2010 में IGBC प्लैटिनम रेटिंग प्रोजेक्ट किया हुआ है मैंने, जब IGBC नया आया था. तो वी आर वेरी पैशनेट अबाउट ग्रीन बिल्डिंग्स. ट्री पॉलिसी चेंज हुई जहाँ पे आपको एज ऑफ ट्री के हिसाब से ट्री प्लांटेशन करना है. फेयर है ना, बहुत अच्छी पॉलिसी है, लेकिन जगह तो नहीं है हमारे पास. वी डोंट हैव प्लांट. अगर 50 साल पुराना ट्री है उसमें मैं 5 झाड़ लगाने तो 250 झाड़ लगाने. 250 झाड़ लगाने के लिए जगह कहाँ है? BMC को पूछते हैं कि जगह दो, वहाँ उनके पास भी जगह नहीं है. मतलब BMC को खुद के इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर प्रोजेक्ट के लिए जगह नहीं है ट्री प्लांटेशन के लिए, तो एज अ डेवलपर कहाँ से मिलेगी? सो द होल आइडिया इज की पॉलिसीज आर, द इंटेंट इज गुड लेकिन एग्जीक्यूशन is going to be challenging and that will create a lot of impact on the speed and the timeline of the redevelopment project.
Agreed. So I have a limit.
Excuse me, he's right. When we go for a cluster development, you have to go to high power committee, you approve high comfort. After you do, first of all, you have to convince all the members. Then you have to convince the high power committee. After the high power committee, if it is a high-rise building, which it is a high-rise building, you have to go high-rise committee. You have to go to MOEF. You have to go to fire. You have to go to... There is so many these things, So it's a big challenge. I just want to give the example of Gift City or Gujarat. I'm doing a lot of work also there. और वहाँ पे हम क्या करते हैं ना, एक बार हम पूरा प्लान सबमिट करते हैं. हम वहाँ पे आर्किटेक्चर, स्ट्रक्चरल इंजीनियरिंग, MEP, फायर, फसाड, एवरीथिंग इज सबमिटेड एट वन गो. और हमारे पास सबके पास से कमेंट्स आ जाता है. So we should also, if you want the city to develop that fast and this thing, so we have to streamline our approval process. क्योंकि क्या होता है, कभी कभी हम आज प्लान बना रहे इनके लिए, by the time the plan comes to implementation, it's almost 5 to 6 years. And so many of the people who are, going into redevelopment, the person is dead and gone. So, I mean, we have to streamline that process and we have to make it a shorter process.
से अगर टाइम निकलता है ना, पहले क्या है, घर की डिमांड होती थी, आप कुछ भी बनाओ बिक जाता था. आज की तारीख में कस्टमर को अच्छा लेआउट चाहिए. कोविड से पहले बालकनी, कॉम्पैक्ट घर बिकते थे, कोविड के बाद बालकनी बिकती हैं, बड़े घर बिकते हैं. इंस्टाग्राम की एज में घर का जो प्रोडक्ट है, पहले बिल्डर इंट्यूशन से बनाया जाता था कि यार इतना बनेगा, बन जाएगा. आज रिसर्च करनी पड़ती है. जैसे कोई भी FMCG कंपनी, आप कोने से हैं, आप कोई अगर लिफ्ट एलिवेटर बनाएंगे तो आप पहले रिसर्च करेंगे, प्रोडक्ट डेवलप करेंगे, फिर बेचेंगे. हमारी इंडस्ट्री में हम आज प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइन करते हैं, 3 साल बाद अप्रूवल आएगा, हम 5 साल 8 साल बाद डिलीवर करेंगे, तब तक जो प्रोडक्ट डिज़ाइन किया है वो मार्केट ही खत्म हो गया. आप समझो एज अ डेवलपर द काइंड ऑफ रिस्क वी टेक. अगर हमने जो आज डिज़ाइन किया वो प्रोडक्ट है, वो 8 साल बाद नहीं चला या 5 साल बाद नहीं चला, तो वी आर आउट ऑफ द गेम. एंड द अमाउंट ऑफ मनी विच इज इन्वेस्टेड इन वन प्रोजेक्ट, it at a different level. Correct. So designing a product which will last the cycle of, and मतलब consumer mindset is changing like anything. पहले इंस्टा सोशल मीडिया कुछ नहीं था, अभी everybody is like, मतलब 20 लाख का घर वाला भी, उसको भी चाहिए 5 स्टार वाला इंटीरियर, और 20 करोड़ वाले को भी वही चाहिए. So it's a different ball game today being a real estate developer. Just that's the only.
Yeah, consumer is more aware and more demanding.
Super aware.
Yeah.
सर आजकल सिक्का लेके आते हैं, टाइल बजा के देखते हैं कि भाई टाइल में कितना बज रहा है, नहीं है तो चेंज करके दो. तो उस लेवल का अवेयरनेस है. एंड वेयर आर वर्कमैनशिप और ऑन अ डिफरेंट लेवल. काम किससे कराते हैं? कॉन्ट्रैक्टर से. उसके आदमी कौन है? जो लेबर, कॉन्ट्रैक्टर के लेबर जो काम कर रहा है, उसके हाथ में फ़ोन है, वही वो इंस्टा रील देख रहा है और मेरा टाइल लगा रहा है, और या गाने सुन रहा है और टाइल लगा रहा है. तो जो फोकस है वो कहाँ है? नहीं है. सो आप उस लेबर को डांट भी नहीं सकते हो कि वो उठ के चला जाएगा तो लेबर नहीं है मेरे पास. सो द डिफरेंस बिटवीन हाउ द काइंड ऑफ क्वालिटी यू वांट टू गिव, इंटेंट अच्छा है, माल अच्छा दे रहा हूँ, मटेरियल अच्छा दे रहा हूँ, वर्कमैनशिप खराब है, कस्टमर बोलता है बिल्डर खराब है, और हम तो बदनाम लोग रहते हैं. वो प्रॉब्लम है.
Thank you for the honest discussion. Let me open it up to the audience if they have any questions to ask. Yeah, we have a couple of hands raised. Can you pass on the mic to them? Yes. Excuse me. Yeah.
Sir, as a lot of redevelopment is there, और FSI की तो खैरात हो रही है, रजा काबुल सर है, पंकज जोशी है, तो गवर्नमेंट को प्रीमियम की पड़ी है. इतने बड़े इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर सब बन रहे हैं तो प्रीमियम कलेक्ट करना है, तो FSI की खैरात करनी है. तो डू यू थिंक देयर शुड बी सम स्टॉपेज फॉर FSI इन मुंबई बिकॉज ऑफ infrastructure and all other basic problems? This FSI and this quantity of quantum of construction is not matching infrastructure of basic problems, that is water supply, sewerage and all other facilities. So we should stop somewhere.
Let me answer that question. I don't think we should stop. We should put it onto the developer. Like what we are talking just now, sir said, you use the water that is, you recycle the water and use it. You should be net zero building. If you are a net zero building, then what is the problem? अगर आप आपके बिल्डिंग में आप वाटर सप्लाई दे सकते हो, आप अगर सोलर पैनल्स लेके कर सकते हो, इफ यू आर जनरेटिंग योर ओन इलेक्ट्रिसिटी, इफ यू आर जनरेटिंग योर ओन वाटर, that is the main essential things of life. And if you can do that, there should be no cap on FSI. You keep all the parameters and you do it. That's my thought. Like Singapore is doing. Singapore is there. Hyderabad is there. Hyderabad is also unlimited FSI. You can go ahead and do that, but you have to get all the infrastructure in place. So developer has to do it. Instead of doing so much development charges you pay to the city, you put it on the onus of the developer. He has to do this. In fact, even the road in front of the, the development, he is supposed to develop that, and he has to be responsible for that, for maintaining the road also for few years.
As a urban planning theorist, I'll tell you one thing, that FSI, even in municipal corporations, started as a planning tool. It became a commodity later on, TDR, and then, every time there's an election, there's more FSI. The fact is, FSI needs to be deleveraged from planning. FSI is only a planning tool. See, by increasing FSI doesn't mean that the pressure doubles on your infrastructure. Because making a 100-storied building, but when you have only 100 people living in massive flats, the implication of water supply, sanitation and all is much lesser as compared to making dense SRA building in half an acre plot where 4,000 families are staying, because the pressures are different. I think you need to kind of remove FSI as a currency in Mumbai. You want 100 FSI, take 100 FSI, but provide A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H. The fact is that only then will you see any change. Right now we've made it into a currency. So you want money, increase FSI. You want this, you increase FSI. You want to shift Tabela, increase FSI. You want IT, you increase FSI. 33 has what, 27 sections now, which is extra FSI, kasam milnar. There is a section which has 24 subsections, and there are multiple subsections of how to increase FSI. The fact is, open it up. Let people have as much FSI as you want, but then you provide your own water supply, you provide your own sewage treatment. BMC will say that we will take only clean water out. You handle your garbage, you handle your sewage, you handle your organic waste composting, and that is what is done across the world. The kind of onus municipal corporation takes is like making city into pampered brats. That is the planning equivalent of what Mumbai is. So let us get more practical. FSI is not a problem. The problem is what comes as a larger package. And what we are doing is we are hitting at FSI but not looking at all the other implications which are there. So I would kind of refrain from that.
सर मैं 2 मिनिट लूँगा. शेवाळे साहेब, आम्ही आता BMCमध्ये जेव्हा कुठलं रिप्रेझेंटेटिव्ह घेऊन जातो तेव्हा PEATA, MCHA आणि नरेडको, इवन BDA एक स्टिअरिंग कमिटी केलेली आहे, जॉईंट फोरम तयार केलेला आहे. त्याची एक मिटिंग झाली होती. त्यातला फक्त 2च वाक्य सांगतो की XYZ सेड की वी आर टुगेदर नाउ विल रिप्रेझेंट आवर कॉमन प्रॉब्लेम्स टू ऑनरेबल म्युनिसिपल कमिशनर. बट द बॉटम लाईन वॉज दॅट की we tried to convince the government to increase the FSI, As a business point of view, the FSI was required to be increased for earning more profit. लेकिन हमने सब करके देखा FSI तो काफ़ी बढ़ गया, profit नहीं बढ़ा. So now that particular aspect will also not be after you, sir, to increase the FSI. But all said and done, I agree with both of them. But one thing remains, housing for all. So if it is an housing for all, there will have to be, to balance that particular aspect, how to create affordable housing, there will have to be an additional FSI. Now, how to balance all those things with respect to, which I, in my first answer, first discussion only told, the livability. Everybody is now thinking about कि इतना सब हो गया तो वो मज़ा नहीं आ रहा है कि जहाँ पे सबको रहते हुए अच्छा लगे. So how to balance that thing? But then if it is housing for all, उतने घर तो बनाने पड़ेंगे.
So, yes, sir. They keep saying that FSI is not a problem, and tell us A, B, C, D, E and we will do it, and they are being told to make rainwater harvesting compulsory for a certain height of building. They never do it. They somehow manage the BMC and get the OC and sell it off. And that's why there is such a huge problem of water now in the city. Only 7% water is available now, as on today, unless the rain comes. Even the parking, they said when you build so many cars will come, where you will keep. So they made parking compulsory, but all the cars are still on the road only. And they talk about the road being maintained by builders, impossible. It is all here. They want to make more and more profit, and that's why they keep saying that FSI bada ke do. Every election, why FSI is increased is only to make builders happy. That point of this gentleman is correct. There should be some limit to the FSI, unless you have infrastructure to support this. But one question I really want answer is why they are not doing rainwater harvesting in the building, new buildings.
Maybe
Sir, we are doing rainwater harvesting. So rainwater harvesting में दो चीजें होती हैं. अगर आपका 20,000 square meter के ऊपर का plot है, then you have to construct rainwater harvesting tank, and we do construct rainwater harvesting tank. Then there is one more philosophy, injection bore wells. So injection bore wells are more effective way of doing rainwater harvesting, and we as a developers are doing that. So Pankaj sir is more kind of aware about it. He has been.
I think there's a substantial, I know you're a pioneer in rainwater harvesting, and rainwater harvesting as a policy is being done substantially for projects which are beyond 20,000 square meters. But there are certain practical issues which we were talking to environmentalists and environmental engineers, that the strata in several locations being clay saturates very easily. And that thing is a problem in several parts of Mumbai, where even at 3 feet you get water, which is not good or drinking quality water, brackish water, but you just cannot recharge pits. And that is when what you say is being seen, where people just connect it and leave it, and it really doesn't work as rainwater. So I think there's an engineering issue and there is a consumption issue, and I'm sure it can be addressed in a better way.
Yeah, maybe one more question. Yes, go ahead.
Hello. So my question is for Mr. Prashant, but of course all of you can answer. So as sir correctly said that जब developers plan करते हैं and then it takes 5 years and more than that for approval. So by the time it's executed, उसका worth चला जाता है. So what do you think are the steps that should be taken to reduce delays in redevelopment projects? Thank you.
So as I had mentioned earlier, I think approvals, if we can improve the speed of approvals, that will be one of the key factors which will kind of overall improve the speed of redevelopment projects.
Yeah, last question.
Yeah.
You've been raising your hand for a while.
I have attended many seminars like this. So the subject today is, and the policymakers are, in collaboration with companies like Construction Times are arranging this. So where do we see ourselves in terms of ratings? We see MMR 2047. So 2047, probably we'll be in 70s, some of us would be in heaven, so we don't have to worry about MMR. But where would we be in 2047 as a city, whether within 5 cities, top cities of the world, 10 cities or 25? Anybody can answer this.
Maybe Mr. Reza Kabul, you want to take a call on this?
Sorry, I was not paying attention.
So I would say that we are very bullish about the way the overall intent in the developer community and the design and the overall construction community is very good, and we are very progressive about the embracing new technologies, how to kind of improve the overall infrastructure. The way we have seen one waste management presentation today. Today we have our STPs where the sensors can be installed and you can see STP आपका काम कर रहा है नहीं कर रहा, तो आपका जो water treatment plant है, जो आपका sewage treatment plant है, that is functional or not. So that way I think within next 20 years we will be a world-class city. I am very bullish about it. We as a community of developers, architects and overall the construction industry, the intent is right, the technology is right and everybody is embracing those technologies, be it let's say elevator companies or everybody. I think everybody is evolving the technology and we are implementing new and new technologies in our products and everybody is more keen on giving better products and nobody wants to take a shortcut today.
I want to add one thing to your question, and I just lost something I was thinking. So, when we are doing the Mumbai 3, Mumbai 4 and all this, we are not doing any proper master planning. We are not doing future master planning. What we are doing right now, we are just cutting plots and we are doing that we are calling master planning. That is not master planning. Master planning means something like Gift City, where you have a full infrastructure planned. The roads are in place, everything is in place, and then the buildings start. In Gujarat, the things that happen is the infrastructure comes first and then the buildings. In Maharashtra, we have buildings first and then the infrastructure. So that is, we should not do that in Mumbai 3 and Mumbai 4, what we are talking about. If you go to Gift City, there is a tunnel which runs under the city. All your drainage lines, your water supply, your garbage also is taken by suction under the tunnel, in the tunnel. There is no digging that is going to happen in the whole city. When we are doing that in Gujarat, in India itself, why can't we do in MMR 3 and MMR 4? Let us plan for it today. Yes, it is an expense, but you are going to, it is a capex, but eventually in future you do not have to go through many of the headaches like today. We are just digging for what telephone lines, we are digging for what gas lines, we are digging for what air conditioning lines. Even you go to Gift City, there is no air condition that's going to be hanging outside the buildings because it's got a district cooling. So one sector, they have one district cooling and all the chilled water goes from under the tunnel. So let us think and let us plan like that in India, in MMR 3 and MMR 4. Right now, they are not doing that. Why they are not doing it? You have to do it that way.
This only shows how concerned we are about Mumbai and how much we own Mumbai. So thank you very much for a very honest and fair discussion to the panelists. Let me sum it up.
If you do this, then it will be good. Yeah.
So basically, we all want MMR to be globally benchmarked, more livable, more accountable, less process-oriented, shorter processes so that things could move faster. And this is what we want. Execution is going to be the key. So let's work towards this. There are people, stakeholders here in this room who take this forward. So best wishes to them. Thank you, panelists, for being so honest and fair. And looking forward for a similar next discussion. Thank you so much.